Hello, welcome to Life Talk it's Tuesday, March 26, 2019. I'm Mark Crutcher, your genial host.
Yes.
And I'm here with the two usual suspects. They're out on bond right now.
That is so not true.
My daughter Sheila and
Hi.
my assistant Renee.
Hello, great to be here.
Nice to have you guys with us. And we have been promising a new project, and we're going to be releasing that today.
A new video.
New video that I think is going to have some, we already know is going to have some impact. We've allowed a few people to see a pre-production version, and the response has been really good.
Great responses.
That'll be coming up after robots. But first, and we're just going to have a very abbreviated show today, I do want to talk about this situation with the Mueller Report coming out, which the Democrats can say all they want to, that it doesn't exonerate Trump, but it does.
It does, yeah.
It completely exonerates him because the issue was that they were raising a ruckus about for the last 2 years was conspiracy to conspire with the Russians to control the election.
Yes.
All we know for a fact right now is there was a conspiracy, but it was with Hillary Clinton.
That's right.
Yeah.
It wasn't with Donald Trump.
Which, I mean, people knew that to begin with. This whole thing has been a witch hunt.
It's a scam.
hoax.
This is a hoax.
$25 million.
So far.
So far.
Right.
So far.
And I think that's probably a small estimate.
You know, I just hope people, the liberals and the Democrats, the Republicans, I hope people see the Democrats for who they are.
Well, yeah.
I think they have seen that.
I hope so. I hope, and with the Mueller Report and the late-term abortions that have been going on, just the evil, the pure evil of these people.
Well, I think that one thing we need to recognize, or kind of in a way celebrate, as far as those of us who are conservative Christian, is that what you're saying has happened. We have always said that the American left is a completely godless collection of Marxists.
Yes.
The Democrats are the same.
Yes.
The media is the same. We've always said that, and people have looked at us like we're nuts. Now they know it for a fact.
Well, the Democrats have been targeting Trump his whole term. Right. They have always been targeting the unborn.
Right.
And so there's nothing out of the realm of possibilities that they're willing to do.
Nothing.
Exactly.
I mean, these people were called. We need to look back and remember something, because this is mind-boggling when you think about it. Literally, these people were calling for Trump to be impeached.
Yes.
The day after he was elected, and months before he was put in office.
Yes.
The day after he was elected, they were saying we're going to start impeachment proceedings.
Well, let's go ahead and start putting Hillary in jail and Pelosi and everybody else that had anything to do with the witch hunt that has gone on with Trump.
And you have the Adam Schiffs of the world, and the Nadlers of the world, and Pelosi and Schumer and all these other people. I think that, and you know, we have our little buddy here, Ernie the frilled-necked lizard, as the mascot for Life Dynamics and for Life Talk. And we think he ought to be the mascot for the Republican Party. Because if you read about him or study him or go online and see some of the videos, he puts on this little show, and it's pretty impressive. He rocks back and forth.
It shows he's really tough.
And he growls, and he spits, and he makes all these noises, and this little thing frills up around his neck. But the second a predator takes one step toward him, he takes off running.
Which is a good example of the Republican Party.
We're about to find that out.
I hope.
We're about to find that
I
out.
think.
If these people that cost the American taxpayer 2 years of the Trump administration and dozens of millions of dollars, if they don't go to jail, then we have no justice. I
personally want some of my money back that they wasted on this investigation.
I think that not only should these people be tried, I think somebody ought to look at the possibility, since we know for a fact now this thing was based on absolutely nothing, that these people attempted a coup. This was sedition. I think we ought to be looking at federal sedition laws to be used against these people. Because if we don't, one thing we know about the godless left, we know this about the godless left, we know this about the media, and we know this about the Democrats, which are basically all one entity.
Right.
If they don't pay a price for this, they'll do it again.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, the Democrats wouldn't hesitate to take it as far as they need to and as viciously as they can.
Right.
We need. I hope the Ernies, the Republicans, do the same and push.
And and it looks like some of these guys are stepping out here. Lindsey Graham are stepping out here saying, "Hey, heads need to roll here," and they do.
Yep.
And
good for him.
We have the Democrats, the godless left, the media have destroyed the reputation. I've told you guys this before. I'm a lot older than both of y'all. I grew up at a time when people might talk about government corruption and politicians this and politicians that, but there were a couple of institutions in America that were considered untouchable, and that was the FBI and the Department of Justice. Now their reputation is in complete tatters, and it's been exposed as a corrupt political environment. Heads need to roll.
Right, political is the right word there.
The only good thing that has come out of this is more and more people are starting to see the Democratic Party for what they really are.
Right.
There have been more and more people who have left the Democratic Party, the walk away movement, over stuff like this, and they will continue to do so.
Right. And I just, I'm with you. I think that the public is seeing what we've always known about these people.
Yep.
And Democrats need to be the decent people out there that might call themselves Democrats need to look at the leadership of their party and say, I'm not part of that.
I'm out.
And I mean, those people supported classic liberalism, but the Democratic Party now has become a socialist communist party, and lots of people are saying, hey,
we're out.
Yeah,
we're out. It's like I remember, former governor of Texas, John Connally, was a Democrat, as most Southerners were at that time. The South was almost universally Democrat. And he changed over to the Republican Party after he was governor of Texas. He was governor as a Democrat. But he changed over, and he made a statement that a lot of them have made since then. He said, I did not leave the Democratic Party. They left me.
Exactly.
And more people need to be looking at that. And I'm not pushing the Republican Party by any stretch of the imagination, which is why we have Ernie here as our mascot. And because he does represent what I see in the Republican Party. They're, for the most part, they're sniveling cowards. This is the time, though, to draw a line in the sand and say,
let's do something.
We're not taking it anymore. We're going to do something about this. Anyway, when we come back from robots, we're going to be talking about this video that we've produced, and we'll be showing it to people. And I think people are going to be excited about it. Anyway, let's take a few minutes out for robots.
In 1973, the U.S. Supreme Court legalized abortion nationwide. The decision is called Roe versus Wade, and those who defend it are known as robots. This is how they think.
Abortion is not used as birth control. Abortion is used responsibly and only in the rarest and most difficult circumstances.
Statistics published by the United States government, as well as those put out by radical pro-abortion organizations like the Guttmacher Institute, expose this as a carefully crafted lie. Data collected over decades has consistently shown that only a tiny fraction of all abortions are done to protect the life or health of the mother, or to kill a baby who was conceived in rape or incest, or to kill a baby who has serious health issues. Instead, the overwhelming majority of women who have abortions say they are doing so only because they are concerned about how a baby would impact their lives. Period. End of story. The data also shows that approximately half of all the abortions done in America are repeats, and today it is not uncommon for women to have several abortions. Revelations like this have forced the abortion lobby into damage control mode. They cannot afford to support superficial abortions or repeat abortions or abortions being used as birth control because they know this would be a public relations nightmare. So they simply lie about the motivations for abortion, knowing that their buddies in the media will never call them on it. In other words, at the same time the pro-choice gang is marketing abortion as a constitutional right that protects women, They protect their own political and financial interest by abandoning those women who freely and repeatedly exercise that constitutional right. That is self-serving gibberish and the very definition of hypocrisy. Look, either abortion is right or it's wrong. And the reasons women have abortions and how many abortions they have has no bearing on that question. The reality is, if the unborn are not living human beings, then no justification for abortion is necessary. But if they are living human beings, then no justification for abortion is possible. And by the way, scientifically and biologically, they are living human beings. Welcome back. I have, over the years, talked to you, both of you guys, about the fact that I think the pro-life movement has had two failures since its inception. One of them is the failure to activate the church. The church is the biggest enemy of life in America today. Their silence on this issue is what allows it to continue. The second failure that we've had is we have not really ever been able to personalize and humanize the unborn child. I don't think we've even done a good job of that within the pro-life movement. And what makes me think about this, I watch these SPCA ads on television.
Very sad.
I can't watch those.
I can't hardly watch them anymore. And you see these poor dogs and cats on there that have been abused or beat or neglected or whatever.
Abandoned, all of that, yeah.
And of course, as everybody knows that watches this, we're big dog and cat lovers. We've got 3 dogs and a cat within about 15 feet of us right here.
Yeah.
And we all love dogs and cats and all animals, but dogs and cats in particular. And what I watch these videos, and I've come to work before and talked to you about this, and said that you watch those and the dogs and cats become personal. And you create a link with them. You identify with those dogs and cats.
Right.
That's what we've never been able to do in the pro-life movement.
Right.
I mean, you see abortion videos, abortion pictures, you see sonogram images, but it doesn't reach out to you.
And yeah.
It's just in theory, yeah.
It's a theory mostly. It's philosophical.
Yeah.
And we have won, in the pro-life movement, we have won the intellectual argument. The other side will not even debate with us anymore about whether the unborn child is a living human being.
Oh, no, because they're admitting it themselves.
They're saying it
Yeah.
You can go online and do a Google search and you can find pro-aborts admitting that abortion is murder, that we take the life of another human being. I've seen these people say, yeah, we're taking the life of another living human being, a person, it's a murder, but women have the right to do it.
Right, it's their choice,
And
their body.
it's their decision.
Yep.
So we have won the intellectual argument. Where we have fallen down is on the emotional connection to the unborn.
Yes.
Right.
That's where we have fallen down.
A tug at the heartstrings.
Right. And so we have decided to launch, and this is just the first one that we want to do. If it's successful, and we think it will be, if it's successful, we've got a whole string of these similar type videos that we're going to do.
Yes.
And I want people to watch this video, and it's very short, it's 1 minute, because we know, and we've talked about this before here, things have changed in this country because of social media, because of smartphones, and because of the internet and all the other things that are out there. The American attention span is brutally short.
Very short.
Very short.
I mean, this video could have been, been a lot longer because there's so much going into this type of video.
Right.
But, to grab people's attention, to grab their
gotta
emotion.
make it short.
Exactly.
And we're going to make all of them short. This one is exactly 1 minute long, so we could get it on Instagram.
Yes.
And but some of them will be longer than that, but we're going to keep them all below 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Some of them will be longer than this one, but we've got. I am a believer now, and I've heard advertisers talking about this, that they say, can you sell a car in a 5-second ad? Honda has 5-second car ads out. And can you sell a car in a 5-second ad or a 10-second or a 30-second? And I've heard advertisers say, what we now know is if you can't sell a car in 30 seconds in an ad, you can't sell it.
Right.
Because attention spans are so short.
Yeah, it's just that short.
And I was watching the other day, Lincoln has come out with a new SUV and it's like $90,000. And the ads they have for it are 30 seconds, and they have one real long one that's a minute. They're selling a $100,000 vehicle, and they know they have to do it in 30 seconds or a minute, or they don't get it sold.
Yeah, they definitely have to make it appealing to
Quick.
the viewers.
And first view and first expressions are everything.
Everything. Yeah. If you don't get them in the first few seconds, you don't get them, period. Yeah. So let's watch this video, and then we'll come back and talk about it once we've seen it.
Okay.
You don't have to say anything. I know where I am and why I was brought here. I know that in the next few minutes, someone's going to call my mom's name and take us to the room where I will be killed. But while there's still time, I want to thank you for caring about me when no one else did. Even though you were not able to save me, you did the best you could. The only thing I ask is that you keep fighting for every baby and never stop believing that one day you will find the way to save them all. But now my time is up, so please pray for me. I'm trying to be brave. You know, I think I would have been a pretty good little boy.
Obviously, when I came up with this idea and told y'all about it, y'all's opinion was this is going to be pretty cheesy to have an unborn baby talking to the pro-life.
Right.
Right. We just couldn't figure out in our head how to make it possible.
How to make it work.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the key element here is how do we deliver an emotional message without it being cheesy? And I think we did a pretty good job of it on this. We'll get better as time goes on.
Well, I think we did an excellent job. And as soon as you had written the first script and we all read it, you know, we teared up in the office.
Yeah.
But as soon as the whole editing was done and the voiceover and the music with it, I mean, it was touching. It was hard to watch. I actually bawled.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm a very emotional person anyways, but
See, I am not. I grew up, you know, knowing the nitty gritty of the abortion industry. I grew up, you know, from day one, you know, in this. And so I just put up, you know, just kind of numb to it, numb to it in a way. But when I saw this video, I cried because it does make you think, you do believe that this unborn child is speaking to you. And obviously they can't, you know, speak to us. We can't hear them in the womb. But
they never will.
No, but they are there.
Right.
And, you know, this is probably what an unborn child would be saying to us if they knew that they were about to be killed.
yeah, it does. It really does personalize that child and makes you want to do what you can to save them and to protect them, just like the ASPCA commercials.
Right. SPCA, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. They personalize the dogs and cats, and this personalizes the baby.
Yeah.
And there are several things, and we've shown this to a few people. We let a few people sit in on it last Friday.
Yes.
And you talked to and sent out things to a bunch of them. And I'll just read a few of the comments. Father Stephen Imbarado, I always stumble over his name. He said, "Wow, thank you. Let us pray that we are in the movement here in this message 3,500 times a day until we hear it no more." He wants everybody in the pro-life movement to watch this every day until we don't have to hear it anymore.
Yep.
Father Frank, said, "Hey, this is great. It really creates that feeling of finality that death brings, but it does so in a way that doesn't startle the viewer." The lady whose son did the voiceover, you sent it to her and talked to her, and she sent us a deal, and she said, "Wow, so SOOO powerful. Thank you for allowing my son to be a part of this." Carol Everett sent me a deal saying, this thing was really powerful. Some people from New York with the, what is that, New York?
March for Life.
March for Life in New York. She sent you a deal, said, "I'm in tears, and I love the video, short and powerful and just what we need." Troy Newman talked about how sad it was, and of course. And we had a lot of other.
Yeah, and then Diane Woolley on here said that was a very good Adam, and Tears and Austin, fantastic job. If you have time to replay, Gary Potter, if you have time to replay, I guess he's
wanting us to play it again. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, they'll be able to watch it as many times as they want to.
Yeah.
Because it'll be on all the usual
Yes.
sites. Anyway, yeah, we had a ton of comments, but
Yeah.
one of the things that I wanted to accomplish with this was not only to personalize the baby, which I think we did a good job of that, but I sense a lot of even though we're closer to winning this thing than we ever have been, and all the signs are around us. The abortion industry is collapsing. The American people are taking a second look at this. The polls are all moving. There still seems to be, though, a sense within a big part of the pro-life movement that we're not winning, we're not making progress, and they're buying into the narrative that the media and the pro-aborts are telling them.
Yeah. There's a fatigue.
There's an abortion fatigue, that's right. And I want people to realize, I wrote an article a couple of years ago about this, and we used it in a fundraising letter, the George Bailey syndrome, talking about the fact that the movie It's a Wonderful Life, George Bailey was the main character in there, and he was committing suicide. He was on a bridge, snowy bridge, fixing to jump off to kill himself, and an angel came to him and started talking to him, and he says, look, I made a mess of my life. The world would have been better off without me. You know, I've just screwed up my whole life. My life has counted for nothing. And the angel, of course, then shows him all the ways that he affected other people and how other people benefited from him being alive and things that he didn't even know that happened and had never thought about, and showed him how valuable his life had been. And I wrote this article because I think the pro-life movement is a lot like George Bailey. And they don't realize what they've done. And I want to go back, and so that's why I wanted this child to be talking to the pro-life movement and saying, yes, you weren't able to save me. I understand that, and I'm fixing to face
Right,
mine.
and you did the best you could.
But you did the best you could. Just don't quit fighting. Right. Just stay out there and fight for every child.
Right.
And the important thing for people to understand is, in this article, I draw the analogy to the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union was the first industrialized nation in the world to legalize abortion. And when the Soviet Union collapsed, they had massive health problems among women, and they started looking at the causes for the health problems they were having. And one of the things they stumbled across was abortion. During the time of the Soviet Union, during that whole time that government existed, the average Soviet woman had 9 abortions.
It's a lot of abortions.
9 abortions. There were parts of the Soviet Union where it was common for women to have 20 or 25 abortions.
Can you imagine the health problems that come with 9 abortions?
You don't have to imagine.
Plus.
You just look at what's happened in the Soviet Union.
Right.
And their demographics have just plummeted. I keep telling people, you need to see the movie Demographic Winter. It will really open your eyes about what's happening worldwide because of abortion and birth control. But anyway, the average woman had 9 abortions. Some parts of the Soviet Union, 20 to 25 were not uncommon for a woman to have 20 to 25 abortions. And the health consequences of this were just stunning, what it had done to women, but also what it had done to the demographics of the Soviet Union. Now they're paying people to have babies. They'll give you a stipend if you will have a baby. Other countries are doing the same thing. France is doing it. Japan is doing it.
Yes.
A lot of European countries are doing it.
Yeah, because they're just like us. Their replacement levels, if we didn't have immigration, and I'm writing a new article about this, if it weren't for immigration, our population has declined. Because of birth control and 60 million dead babies through abortion.
Well, yeah, and there was an article that came out not long ago that said, from the CDC.
From the CDC.
Yeah, that we are not having enough babies to replace ourselves.
Right. Well, that's a financial disaster.
Right.
That is a financial disaster when that happens. But anyway, I want people to understand something. In the 1990s, early 1990s, the abortion rate in America was about 1.7 million. That's a little over 5,000 babies per day, and I remember those days. And when I first started Life Dynamics, the day that I started, one of the things we did was we were going to go after the abortion clinics as individual places of business. We needed to know how many targets we had. There were 2,126 freestanding abortion clinics the week I opened Life Dynamics. Today, they're what, like 520, 525,
something like that. Yeah, I think it's more in the, anyways,
You know,
something like that.
It's under 600.
Yeah.
It's well under
Yeah.
600. The abortion rate has gone from 1.7 million to less than 1 million.
Mm-hmm.
Now, 1 million abortions of babies is still a disgrace and a tragedy. But if you compare where we were, and I want people to understand something. Now we're at well under 3,000 abortions a day.
Yes.
Still a tragedy, still a disgrace. But we were at 5. That means there are 2,000 fewer babies being butchered today than were being butchered 25 years ago,
Right.
despite the fact we have a much larger population.
And I mean, even though we have abortion fatigue, and you can say, oh, thousands of babies on a daily basis are still being killed, you have to look at the babies that are being saved.
Right.
Every single baby counts. Every single baby is important. That each one of those babies that is saved is a celebration in and of itself.
Right.
We can't give up, though, because we want every baby to be saved.
Right. Until everybody is saved, we're not going to give up. But here's the point I want to make. If you compare us to the Soviet Union, you say, well, why did that happen in the Soviet Union and not happen in America? It's a very good reason. It's very simple to understand. The Soviet government prohibited there being any pro-life organizations. You could not have a pro-life organization in the Soviet Union. And what happened was very predictable. If you don't have any opposition to abortion, this is what you get, the average woman having 9 abortions.
That's right.
We now are in a situation where the abortion rate has gone from 5,000 to less than 3 over the period of time. Don't tell me that would have happened had it not been for the pro-life movement.
That's right.
Nobody has been more critical of some of the things that we do. And I look at some of the things that the pro-life movement does and I think, why on God's green earth would you do that? And I look at some of the stupidity that we engage in. But I'm telling you right now, if it had not been for the pro-life movement, and this is the George Bailey deal, if it had not been from the pro-life movement, we would not have gone from 5,000 a day to 3,000 a day.
Right.
We would have gone from 5,000 a day to 10,000 a day.
Right.
We would have abortion clinics in malls. And if you think that's, when I first wrote that about 20 years ago, everybody, even I had some some pro-lifers tell me, you're not, they would never put abortion clinics in
Or even
malls.
in high schools.
High schools.
Just all
Right.
over the place.
But now you have pro-aborts talking about how they want to put Planned Parenthood facilities in malls, and they want freestanding Planned Parenthood facilities in high schools and junior high schools and colleges and on college campuses. We would not now be standing, had it not been for the pro-life movement, we would not now be standing on the graves of 60 million babies. We'd be standing on the graves of 250 million babies or 300 million babies.
Yes.
And, you know, all of the things that for all our warts, we have not given up.
Right.
And that was
And we're
one of the
not going
messages,
to.
right. And that's one of the messages that I wanted to deliver in this video. I wanted people to see we are not giving up. And that baby is saying, thanks for not giving up. Yes, you couldn't save me. We couldn't save those 60 million so far.
Yeah.
But that number would, I'm telling you right now, that number would have been 250 to 300 million or more.
If it weren't for the pro-life movement.
If it were not for the pro-life movement.
That's right.
So even through all of our warts and all of our failures, and there'll be more of them. Life Dynamics has failed at things. There's not a pro-life group in this country that hadn't failed. If you're not failing, you're not trying.
Yeah.
You're going to fail at stuff.
Yes.
And you're going to look back and say, you know, how stupid was I then? You know, what was I thinking to try that? That's part of the nature of it.
Yes.
The only people that never fail are the people that never try. And so I wanted the pro-life movement, and I still want the pro-life movement to watch this video, not only from the standpoint of the fact that this baby is dying and giving up his life,
Right.
but what that baby is saying to the pro-life movement.
Yeah, and Sheila's going to share where all where the video will be on social media. But if we would really appreciate your feedback on any of the sites that you watch it on, and just let us know what you think, because we, like Mark said earlier, we are wanting to do a series of these type of videos, and so. It would be good to know what you guys think.
If this one is successful, we are going to do them.
Yeah.
Assuming that we are able to raise the money to do them and so forth.
Yes.
It's not cheap to shoot these videos.
No, it's not.
People can look at the final product and say, "Oh, you could do that for $100." Well,
no,
go out
not
and give
hardly.
it a try. Right. If you can do it for $100, come show me how to do it for $100.
And we also need help, your help spreading this, because right now it's just on the internet. It's just on social media. You can watch it on our YouTube page, our Life Dynamics YouTube page. You can also watch it on our Facebook account, Life Dynamics page, your Facebook profile, our Life Talk social media pages. And so we will be posting the video by itself as well.
Well, the video, we've been waiting to introduce this. It's now introduced.
Yes.
And if you can use the video, if you can spread it around, you don't have to call us to get copyright permission to do so. It's out there for people to use. That's like everything Life Dynamics does. I've always said this. We put it out there for the pro-life movement to use. Only thing we insist is that you put the entire thing out. Of course, it's only 1 minute long, so that should be pretty easy. But we need your help in two things. Like Renee's saying, we need to hear your feedback on it. If you like it, if you don't like it, if you think it's effective, if you don't think it's effective, we want to hear. We want to hear what you think. And Sheila's right. You need to go to all these places where you can see it. And at the end of this show, it will be available for anybody to use in the pro-life movement. And I just ask you to please make sure that as many people as you can possibly contact watch this video. And I want the pro-life movement to take some encouragement from this.
Share it on social media. Email people about it, text people about it, just tell somebody, hey, look at this video.
Right.
Just make sure you get this out there.
And I want to encourage you, when you do tell people to watch the video, don't tell them what it's about. Don't tell them.
Just tell them to watch it.
Just tell them to watch it. Don't tell them the theme about it. Just say, hey, I want you to watch this video.
Yes.
And,
Yep. And then Tulane has, Austin wanted to know, it was demographic winter. Not winter, WINNER, it's winter.
Winter, like summer, winter.
So Tulane cleared that up for him. And then Gary, he actually has given us testimony, a little part of it on here. He actually wasn't saved. He had died for a short time, came back, God spoke to him and revealed to him that he needed to get involved to help the unborn babies. So anyways, thanks for sharing that testimony with us. We appreciate it.
Yep. Anyway, again, we do need your feedback, and we need you to help us. We don't have the money. We are going to try to buy with what we can afford to promote this on social media. What do they call it? Bumping it up or
boosting it.
Boosting and doing sponsored ads.
Right. We're going to try to do that to get this spread as far as we can. But we need your help. We don't have the resources, the money to do that. And we're going to need your donations and your help to do future videos.
Yes.
And we've got a lot of them planned. We've done a lot of brainstorming around here. I've even come up with some more that I hadn't even talked to you guys about. But
we've been the organization that has exposed the abortion industry, and now we want to touch people's hearts and encourage people to continue.
And we're going to continue exposing and doing that.
Yeah.
Don't think that we've adopted this warm, fuzzy, touchy-feely.
No.
I'm not the warm, fuzzy, touchy-feely type, as y'all know.
We're attacking from both sides.
We're attacking them from both sides.
Yes.
Anyway, y'all got anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Anybody else commenting that you need to put out there?
Nope.
All right. Until next Tuesday, remember, Life Dynamics is not here to put up a good fight. We're here to win, because winning is how this killing will stop. We'll see you next week.